Virginia, where the polls open up at 6 a.m. Right now, the balance of power in the Commonwealth is pretty balanced. Virginia Republicans have 5 seats in the House of Representatives. Democrats have 6. But with newly redrawn maps, Republicans could stand to lose all but one of those seats. Our Tom Rousey now with a look at why the stakes are so high, not just for the Commonwealth, but really across the entire country.
Westover Library here is one of 54 precincts that will be open on Election Day tomorrow. Voters throughout Virginia will be heading to the polls between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. They're going to decide whether to do redistricting that will benefit Democrats or leave things the way they are. Early voting is over, but Monday evening we saw several people dropping off absentee ballots.
This is an important time. Things are so crazy in politics now that I think it's important to take a stand on whatever your view is.
No names are on this ballot. Everyone is either voting yes or voting no. Longtime UVA political scientist Larry Sabato says many voters are confused by the redistricting measure.
Usually when people are confused, they don't vote. You know, some of them do, but most of them don't.
I think anybody who's not strongly committed one side or the other is likely to stay home.
University of Mary Washington political scientist Stephen Farnsworth says the stakes are high for the House of Representatives.
If it fails, the chances of Republican continued control are greater than they would have been if it passes.
The measure would likely change Virginia's House seats from 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans to 10 Democrats and 1 Republican, giving Democrats 4 extra seats. The limited polling that's been done slightly favors the yes side, but experts say where people turned out for early voting may paint a different picture.
Normally, you would think, given Virginia's pretty strong Democratic lean, that this very partisan referendum would be enough to generate Democratic turnout for Democrats to win. But I tell you why people are hesitant. They've seen large turnouts in conservative, Republican rural areas because they're mad. Their representatives are being eliminated through this process.
This is going to be tied very closely to how one feels about President Trump.
Again, Election Day hours, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you have a mail-in ballot, you can actually drop it off in one of these until 7 p.m. Tuesday, or you can just put it in the mail, but it has to be postmarked by Tuesday and received by noon Friday. In Arlington, Tom Rousey, 7 News.
Now, Virginia is just one state taking part in a wave of unusual mid-cycle redistricting. Usually, states draw new maps every 10 years. But President Trump urged Texas to choose new lines back in September. That caused a chain reaction where states all across the country tried to get new maps ahead of the midterms. So let's take a look at where things stand right now. Republican-favored maps have passed in Texas, Missouri, Ohio, and North Carolina. Democrat-favored versions were passed in California and Utah. However, plenty of efforts also failed, including in Maryland, where the redistricting push died after the legislative session ended. But 2 states are still up in the air, and Democrats could pick up seats in the Commonwealth, but Republicans could gain ground all the way down in Florida. Now, over the last few years, Congress has introduced several bills to end gerrymandering, but they haven't advanced. There have been calls for independent review boards and national standards, but some have been sounding the alarm on a hidden issue for years now about how redistricting can cause political extremism.
If you've got a district that's all Democratic or heavily Democratic or heavily Republican, you tend to have members elected who are on the edges of their 2 parties. You don't win a primary in one of those by being moderate. And I think that's one of the things that's contributed to the polarization that we see in the Congress.
Our team will be tracking tomorrow's vote, and we'll keep you up to speed as results start to come in. We're going to have coverage on air and online over on WJLA.com. Now, you can also get breaking news alerts sent straight to your phone by downloading the free 7 News app. Make sure those push alert notifications are turned on.